from a single plant in Workington, British Steel has grown the largest rail exporting network in the world. It isn't just love that makes the world go round, it's fire. In a burning desire to attract a mate, these beetles carry their fires with them. If a fire can do this for a fly, surely it can bring out the love bug in you. With the British Gas range of decorative fires, the flames can be turned down instantly. Or up if you so desire, leaving you to enjoy the romance of a real fire without doing much at all. Except what comes naturally. Gas, the heat of the moment.
High yield, low trust funds, timeshare eternity bonds, index linked to a gold-edged gilt complex. Yep, finance is a complicated animal, Mostyn.
Really? It's nothing like that at the Alliance in Leicester.
Mm-hmm.
No, they make investing simple.
Do they? Do they?
Yes. They pay a good rate of interest in all their accounts.
Uh-huh.
Your money's safe.
Really?
And with their Cash Plus account, you can pay your bills over the phone.
Do they really? What? You mean... Mostyn, what kind of a person do you think falls for a cheap gimmick like that?
Probably the sort of person who hasn't just glued all his fingers together.
You get a smarter investor at the Alliance in Leicester. For comfort from your cold, take Lemsip.
What a wonderfully rich aroma. New Maxwell House Classic. I love the classics. And I love this rich taste. How can one describe such classic richness? This richness so deep.
Why use 50 words when 2 say it all? Max Richness.
Last year, NatWest helped over 150,000 people launch small businesses. That's more than any other bank. Let NatWest help put your idea into action. Call in at any high street branch and see a small business advisor, or call free on 0800 777 888. NatWest, the Action Bank.
And looking ahead now to entertainment tomorrow evening here on Tyne, and at 8:05, we've half an hour of magic, music and comedy with ventriloquist Leuchars and special guests, including singer Kim Appleby. An hour of comedy begins at 9 o'clock with Penelope Keith in No Job for a Lady and continues at 9:30 when Maureen Lipman stars in About Face. And later in the evening, North Tonight, Tyne's own twice-weekly topical magazine programme, looks at events here in the North East region. Programmes to look forward to tomorrow night here on Tyne. Next tonight, we join ITN for overnight news on the Gulf situation.
Because we've spent the time creating a tantalising prawn curry, you will have the opportunity to do a bit of cleaning up. Menu Master, a taste of freedom. It isn't just love that makes the world go round, it's fire. In a burning desire to attract a mate, these beetles carry their fires with them. If a fire can do this for a fly, surely it can bring out the love bug in you. With the British Gas range of decorative fires, the flames can be turned down instantly. Or up if you so desire, leaving you to enjoy the romance of a real fire without doing much at all.
Accept what comes naturally. Gas, the heat of the moment.
Kids don't think about germs. Tests have shown that with some bleaches, germs breed again after the lavatory's been flushed, but long-lasting Vortex goes on killing germs. Vortex protects.
Will your next car have the option of Quattro four-wheel drive? Call Audi on 0800 585 685 to make sure.
To keep going as long as Duracell, how many times would you expect to replace ordinary SP batteries? Twice? 3 times. In this continuous test, Duracell outlasts ordinary SP batteries by up to 6 times. So why settle for anything less? Duracell. No ordinary battery looks like it or lasts like it.
Superb! Amazing! Low prices in every department. It's Boy's Fabulous Sale. Starts Friday, February the 1st.
To look after your daisies during the coming months, firstly, select the correct pot. Add a little peat. Treat to a little Flora that's high in polyunsaturates, low in saturates, and low in cholesterol. Now, transplant to the nursery and leave to settle, while you check your new seedlings. Flora margarine for your blooming generation.
Hi, I'm Leo. I eat the lion's share.
Gemini, and I like to slurp it, bite it, slurp it, bite it.
Sagittarius, I could eat 2 or 3 on a trot. Taurus, and I go at it like a bull in a sweet shop. Cadbury's Creme. How do you do it?
I got my mind set on you. I got my mind set on you. Set on you. Set on you. I got my mind set on you.
The Daily Star. It's a right riveting read.
Hello and welcome to ITN's Gulf Report. We'll be on the air until 6 o'clock, bringing you all the overnight developments as they happen. We'll have reports from our correspondents with the Allied forces and at key locations around the Middle East and in America. In addition, I'll be joined in the studio by a variety of guests who will discuss the latest issues. First, though, let's catch up with the news with Robert Hall.
The Allied commander in the Gulf, General Norman Schwarzkopf, said he'll know later today whether bombs dropped on oil installations in Kuwait have stopped the flow of oil pouring into the Gulf. General Schwarzkopf said he thought American F-111 aircraft had been successful in bombing missions targeting the installations.
This is the moment the Allies hope they staunched Saddam Hussein's oil slick. General Schwarzkopf said he was advised by oil experts.
They asked us to try and do 2 things. They said, first of all, about the best thing we could do right away would be to somehow set the source of this oil spill on fire. If we could set it on fire, it would burn off a great deal of the pollutants that otherwise would go into the Gulf and continue to flow down. The other thing they did is ask me to somehow cut off the flow of oil to this buoy.
The first phase, setting fire to the source of the slick, the sea terminal, happened by chance during the shelling of an Iraqi ship nearby.
We just happened to have a circumstantial happening out here at the Sea Island Terminal. The United States Navy encountered a small boat. This was a small boat of the type that is suspected of supporting mine-laying craft, also a small boat that has anti-aircraft on it. and it's the type of small boat that they've been going after out in the area because those boats have been shooting at them. They engaged that boat. That boat happened to be next to the Sea Island terminal, and as a result of that engagement, the Sea Island terminal caught fire.
The next step was to stop the oil reaching the terminal by attacking manifold pipe systems near the storage tanks on land. That happened by design. Last night, F-111s using guided precision bombs hit 2 sets of manifold pipes to stop the flow to the sea.
This is the second one. Now, this next is a tape that was taken late in the afternoon yesterday, prior to the time we destroyed the manifold, and it gives you some idea of what we had. You can see very, very heavy black smoke, a very large fire out in the area. Now, this is after the attack. This is early today. You will see that you have an entirely different color smoke coming out of here, which I'm told is because the oil is deeper in the water and it's burning much less. And you can see the size of the flame area is much, much smaller than the one you saw just a few minutes ago.
But, say Saudi officials, there's still in the Gulf the biggest oil slick in history, covering 240 square miles and moving along the Saudi coastline.
So, while the Allies believe they've cut off the flow of oil into the Gulf, at source, the slick is still drifting south. Peter Sharp reports on the threat that still exists to wildlife and to the desalination plants which supply fresh water to Saudi civilians as well as to Allied troops.
Oil now laps along the culvert at the desalination plant near Khafji. Today, a cold front moved into the Gulf, pushing the crude towards the kingdom's vital water treatment plants in the south. These plants have always been well guarded against conventional terrorist attack, but engineers concede there's little they can do against widespread pollution. As long as the oil stays on the surface, it's unlikely to affect water supplies. The seawater is collected 13 feet down and a half a mile out to sea. But if the slick sinks, it could be sucked into the treatment plant, damaging the filters. This plant at Al-Khabar supplies 50 million gallons of fresh water a day to 7 Saudi cities and tens of thousands of Allied troops. As this huge oil slick moves south at a speed of 30 miles a day, teams of pollution control experts were flying into the Gulf tonight to prepare defenses along the eastern coast. Peter Sharp, ITN, in Saudi Arabia.
And there was more news from today's military briefing. The Allied commander, General Schwarzkopf, also revealed 23 more Iraqi planes, including some of their very best fighters, have flown to neutral Iran.
Allied Commander General Schwarzkopf reported that 39 Iraqi planes were now in Iran, almost 24 of them arriving in the last 24 hours. His explanation?
We have been on a campaign, just as General Powell announced we would be last week, of if they won't fly up to meet us, we will fly down and destroy their hardened shoulders one by one by one. And we have been doing that, and we've been doing it very effectively. You'll get more on that this week, but that may be that they've decided that they can't afford to lose any more aircraft.
Schwarzkopf didn't know what kind of planes were involved, but he said they were the very best of Iraq's fighters, perhaps these MiG-29s. The Iranian National Security Council, meeting last night, said the Iraqi planes would be impounded until hostilities ceased. And underlining that neutral position, the Speaker of the Iranian Parliament today offered a 5-point peace plan. That's despite anti-American protests in the streets of Iran. But close observers say Iran's attitude to the Iraqi planes was not so clear-cut at first.
The information I have from Iran is that the Iraqi government tried to station planes there as it's tried to station them in a number of other countries in the Middle East. The Iranians at first accepted that these planes would be stationed there. The Americans then sent a very tough message saying you can't do this under the laws of neutrality, and the Iranians have now agreed not to allow these planes to be stationed there, or if they are stationed, not to allow them back into Iraq.
The Allies have denied claims by Iraq that they've indiscriminately bombed civilian buildings. Our Middle East correspondent, Brent Sadler, who's in Jordan,